The Synthetic Sierra Club applauds you for your reforestation efforts. Yeah, my dad was definitely watching the last video. Okay, now it's time to actually plant the trees on the layout. So let me move the camera down so you can see the layout a little bit more, and we'll talk about how we're going to do that. Okay, so now you got Headless Calvin. Let's talk a little bit about planting the trees on the layout. And you'll notice I already planted one over here. So this layout is using insulation foam, as you can see here, as the base. And this is actually using 4 of my 6x9 bases. Don't worry, when this is done, there will be a video on it. But the advantage of using the foam is it's relatively easy to punch a hole in it, and then you can mount the trees in there. So what I'm doing for the initial hole making is I'm just using the tip of this square file. Then I'm coming along with the end of this paintbrush. It is not the full size of the hole. That's actually a good thing, so when I stick the dowel in there, it's a really tight fit and it does not want to come out. Only reason why I'm not gluing the trees in at this point is just because in case I decide to change any of them out or move them, I have that flexibility. So let's see. One area that, whoops, there's a hair right there. One area that I'm not going to be planting trees in this video is back here, because I'm actually probably going to be redoing this a little bit, and we can cover that later on camera. But one area that definitely could use a tree is over in here, and I'm not planting like a ridiculously thick forest on here for a couple of reasons. One, you figure when the people came in here, they would have knocked some of the trees down to build stuff, and also in a healthy forest, it's actually more open than you think it is. You have fires roll through there, they clear things out, all that stuff. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of the file and start to make a hole in this. I'm having to push through some sanded grout and some plaster cloth as well. So if you're wondering why I'm having a heck of a time shoving the end of a file into what should be something simple, I think this is actually ground goop right here. Yeah, that's got to be ground goop. That's ground goop, I believe. That's the reason why I'm struggling to shove stuff in there. So I'm gonna open the hole up a little bit. There we go. And I'm also making the hole deeper than it needs to be, so that way I have a little bit of room to move things up and down. So which tree do I want to use for that? Yeah. You know what? That one would actually look kind of cool. So then what I'm doing is I'm very carefully pushing it in there. This one, I think I'm going to make the opening a little bit larger. It's just not going in there. Now, ideally, I would have like a piece of brass tubing or something that I could use to punch a hole in the foam, but I think this will work. I think that guy's gonna work. I actually kind of like, you know, kind of just having the trees in random locations. And sure, there is nothing stopping me at a later time and date from trying to stick another tree in there, which doesn't entirely work. But the point is, I'm not trying to just overcrowd the scene with trees. I also have to keep in mind clearances as well for equipment running around here, because obviously that would be a problem. Now, I have thought about planting a tree over here. I think I might be able to get away with one right here, but I definitely want to install some kind of a jib crane somewhere in this area, so that's the only reason why I'm not doing it. Now, another potential location, let's spin it around so you guys can see it. It'd actually be maybe somewhere in this area. That might be kind of cool. Grab a taller one. Yeah, maybe. I think I might actually plant, trying to think here, because space definitely becomes an issue on a micro layout. You're like, I could plant a whole forest, and then you start planting and you're like, or maybe not. There we go, that was foam. That other one was ground goop. which if you're not familiar with ground goop, I believe I have a video on it somewhere on the channel. But it's pretty much a paper mache, white glue, paint, and a little bit of Lysol just so it doesn't go moldy while you're waiting to, use it mixture, and it is awesome for doing scenery stuff with. And as you can tell, it's quite tough. So that looks really cool having the tree right there. Alright, so here it is. Sorry if it's a little tricky to see. I ended up not putting in as many trees as I initially thought I would, but given the size of the layout, I didn't want to overdo it. And once I've built things like the jib crane and stuff, then I'll know for certain if I can safely install trees into, say, this area. And I want to redo this back area here because I'm not entirely thrilled with it. When I was building this, I was debating doing an extension, which I think I will as just a separate piece. But if I do that, I'm going to need to change this up, which is totally fine. And it doesn't have anything to protect it, stuff like that. It was kind of just a temporary thing. So I'll definitely do a video on modifying that. But I want to put a lot more trees on this area to help kind of tie the scene together. So hope you guys enjoyed. I am beyond stoked with how this layout is turning out. Hopefully I'll have some more videos featuring it at some point in the near future, but this is what you guys get to see for now. All right, see you guys later.